Hi everybody, welcome to the family table. This is our first episode in a series of dinners, desserts, and things that bring everybody to the family table. Family table has changed in the last few years. People are busy, they're running around, but the family table is important. Years ago, my family table was 6. Now it's just me and my husband. Sometimes it's at the breakfast bar, sometimes it's in front of the TV watching the news. But it's always about what you've done today or what you're going to do. It's about conversation and the family being together. So whatever your family table is, whether it's the dining room, the breakfast bar in front of the TV, it's important to continue. I would like to welcome you to my home and how we're going to put some meals on the table for your family. Today we're going to be doing a beef stew. A couple of days ago we were in subarctic temperatures. Today we're in a monsoon. Perfect time for beef stew. So let's get started. I have 2 pounds of beef stew. I buy it already cut up, saves you a bunch of time. You get it all done like this, pretty simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flour this. I already have my flour bag ready. I put it in a Ziploc bag. It's got about 6 tablespoons of flour. I've seasoned it with salt and pepper, and I am just going to take the beef and put it right into the bag. And then once we do that, we're going to give it a good shake. Make sure all the stew beef is covered. So let's get that into the bag. You can do this in the morning. You can get everything all ready at night. I chose to get everything all ready the night before. It's just easier. So when I'm going off to work, I have it all set up, ready to go. And all I have to do is put it in my crock pot. So let's get this all in the bag. Now once you feel that it's all covered up, and all your pieces are taken care of, I like to put it in a little sifter here because we don't want a ton of flour. What the flour is also going to do is going to thicken up your beef stew. So you definitely don't want too much, unless of course that's what you like, a nice thick beef stew. And then we can always take care of it later when it's all done because you can always make it thicker. So we're going to take this over to the stove. Over here I got a nice saute pan. I am going to put roughly about 6 tablespoons of good olive oil. And we say good olive oil because there's some olive oil out there that, well, is not so good. So you take your olive oil, cover your pan, put it on medium heat. Now, I don't pretty much measure because I got a good eye for what I need. If you feel better measuring, go right ahead. But if you do feel better just putting it in, then do so. So we're going to get that all nice and warm. I'm going to let it warm up for a little while. We're going to come back over here. What I also like to do when I'm getting my meals ready is I take everything. I have everything out so I'm not looking for something, and I have a bowl that I can just throw everything in. You don't have to keep going back and forth to the garbage. Now I also have my vegetables. I've cut up some already, but I'll show you. We're going to use about 4 medium-sized red potatoes. You can use white potatoes, you can use any potatoes you want. I like the red potatoes. We're also going to use 2 onions. I already got 2 potatoes cut up and I got 2 onions cut up. 4 stalks of celery, about 14 ounces of carrots and green beans. And again, you don't have to use fresh green beans and you don't have to use fresh carrots. I choose to do it that way, but that's up to you. You can do canned, you can do frozen. Both of them are very good. When you have canned vegetables, some people, just don't like that, but you got to understand that it's picked from the farm and it has gone directly to the cannery and is taken care of right away. The only thing different there is you tend to have some sodium in it. And when you're doing it with fresh, you don't have to have the extra sodium. So we're going to take this, I'm going to let it rinse a little bit. Oil should be done. So now we're going to get our beef stew right into the pan. Gonna get them all in there. Try to give them some room. You do have quite a bit of beef stew here. And then once you have the recipe down pat, you can always maneuver it the way you want to. Some people want different vegetables. The more vegetables, better. You want more beef stew? Yeah, go right ahead. Okay, so we get that beef stew right in there, and then we'll just put this off to the side. We got our little tongs here. Get them all in there so they're all happy in the pan. And again, you can just let that sit there for a little bit. Just keep an eye on it because you're not necessarily cooking. You're sauteing it and browning it a little bit. So you really are not cooking it because the crock pot's going to do all the work. So in the meantime, we got our vegetables washed. When you're using peeled potatoes, I like to keep the peels on my potatoes. Just make sure you give it a good wash because you do not want to have dirt in your beef stew or any other product that you're using your potatoes with. We're going to get all our veggies right over there. Put that right out here. Always nice to have a good chef knife. You need a knife that's going to cut for you. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just take the ends off the celery, throw it in our garbage bowl, and we're going to give it a good chop. Watch the fingers. Don't pay attention to anything else but your fingers on that board. Now, myself and my family, we like the little green leaves and stuff on the ends of the celery. I put that right in. Everything goes in the pot. So that goes in. Now we got our green beans. If you're using frozen and canned green beans, you won't have to worry about cutting them. They already come all nice and cut up for you. But try to make sure everything is the same length. It's just easier that way for the cooking. Get that all in there. We got some more green beans, the carrots. We'll put those in there after. Let me just get all the green beans out. Oh, little buggers are hiding here. Maybe they don't want to be cooked, but we're going to get them all out. My family has always loved vegetables. We put vegetables, there's always a vegetable. When my daughter Sarah was little, she used to ask me, what was the vegetable for supper? Not the meat, not anything else, just the vegetables. Now the carrots, same thing. Try to get them nice and uniformed. I'm just going to check the meat. Oh yeah. We're going to turn some of these over. Look at that. I don't know if you guys are getting this meat, but when it's in the crock pot and after it's all done, oh, it just melts in your mouth. You can use any meat you want. I just go for the already cut up stew meat. You get it anywhere, any store. It says stew beef right on the package. If they are a little bit big, just cut them up. But most cases, most stores, they package them really in bite-sized pieces. And you don't have to worry about cutting them up, which again, saves time. And in all our busy schedules, time is very important. So, there, we get that going there. We'll let that sit for a few more minutes. Go back to cutting up. So the next thing is our carrots. We'll get those all cut up. There we go. So the recipe calls for about 14 ounces, 16 ounces of carrots. And same thing with your green beans. But again, you're going to use a can. It's usually a 15-ounce can. Don't worry about the -1 ounce or +2 ounces. That's not anything to worry about. Just put it in. Just keep in mind that when you are using can to please drain. Don't put the liquid in. I like to use the baby carrots because I don't have to peel them. So again, that's another plus in time saving. So we'll get all these cut up for you, all in the bowl. And a knife. That makes your life so much easier. Spend the money, get a good one, and keep it very nice. Potato, skin and all. We're going to cut that up. Throw that in the pot. Remember, it's about 4 potatoes. Like I said, I already have some already cut up, ready to go. So I'm not cutting everything up today. Here we go. And we'll check the meat again, because again, just browning. Just remember. Oh yeah, that's fine. So now what we're going to do with this is we're going to go over to the crock pot. It's already set up. I got it right here on the counter. We're going to come right over here. Just take the cover off. Right in the pot. And here's the other thing that I really love to do. You're cooking. It's got all those nice little bits in there. We're going to take some Merlot or any wine you like. The trick of cooking with wine, if you drink it, you can cook with it. It's not the idea that, oh, I don't like this wine, so I'm going to, make a soup out of it. No. If you don't like the wine to drink it, you're not going to like the wine to eat it. You're just going to pour that in. What this does is loosen up all those delicious bits that's left in your pan from when you were browning that beef. And then you want to just take your wooden spatula, because we don't want to scratch up the pans either. We want to take that wooden spatula and get all those, and you'll be surprised, those bits just loosen right up. They want to go in the pot. They don't want to be left in the pan. So that. And for those of you that are worried about children and the wine and anything else, all the alcohol will be cooked off. The only time alcohol is not is when you're using it for frosting or putting some in the whipped cream. Then of course it's there. So far we got the wine in there, we got the beef in there. Now we're going to finish cutting up the vegetables. The next thing is the onion. Well, love them, hate them, onions add flavor, and they add a lot of flavor. So what I like to do is, we're going to just peel them a little bit, get this skin off it. I like to put everything, especially the onions, pretty big, because some people don't like onions. And even though you have the flavor of the onion in there, they just don't want to eat it. So if you make it nice and chunky, they can just take it right off out of their bowl. So again, we take our nice big chunks right there, right in the pan. Here we go. So now we have our potatoes, our onions, our carrots, our green beans, and then the rest that I did peel earlier and chopped up earlier. Just going to add that right to the bowl. Now that's all set. What we're going to do in this measuring cup is we are going to open up this 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I use a handheld. Those electric can openers, I don't know. They're for the birds, I guess. This usually works very well for me. So we're going to do that. I'm going to put it in here. We're going to take our beef broth. Again, 15-ounce can. I rather use these containers because you don't always use a whole can. If you were to buy a 15-ounce can, obviously you are going to use it. But in most cases, you don't use the whole can. So these, you seal and put them right back in the refrigerator. Add that. I always pour it in the can because then I get all those nice little bits in the can too. And always remember, recycle. It's very important. So we're just going to move that right out of our way because that will go in my recycle bin. And the other trick is packaged beef stew mix. It's got all the flavors, all the spices, everything you need is in this package. So we will add that right to this so we can mix it all up. We're going to grab a spoon. Sorry, I got right over here. And we're going to mix this up. Now, get that all mixed, get all the little chunks going. Get that all set. Now that we got this all mixed up, our next step is we're going to take this bowl of vegetables. We are going to put it in our crock pot. Oh, one escaped. Let's get that all in there. Oh, look at that. It's a healthy beef stew. It's going to be healthy and hearty. Get that all in there. We take our little mixture here. Now, once you make this, if you feel that it wasn't brothy enough or you want more, you can always add more beef broth to it. Me, I like a nice hearty beef stew, so we want it to be. And then if you don't think it's thick enough too, once it's done, at the end, a little bit of water and a little bit of cornstarch, stir that in, and you are all set. Now, we have this like this. If you can stir it later, knock yourself out. If you can't, don't worry about it. That's the best thing about the crock pot. Everything will cook no matter what. So we're just going to put this all here. Now, depending on your lifestyle, you're working, whatever you're doing, I would put this on low. And it'll be there for 10 hours because that's how long it'll take me to get home from work. Or if you want to get it done a little quicker, 6 hours on high. We leave it here, set it and forget it. And that's how it is. Now, let me show you what beef stew looks like when it's all done. I'm just gonna move some of this stuff out of our way here. If you want to add more salt and pepper, go right ahead. I am not into that. I would add it more like towards the end, let my family do what they need to do because we just try to watch our salt intake. But let me just get this all out of your way. And I do have these nice warming drawers, which, let me tell you, is a godsend sometimes. Let me get Now, you don't have to put it in a nice little soup thing. I just figured for the show, why not? So let me show you this. And let me get a couple of bowls here, because the crew here are going to try some nice beef stew. And this is your beef stew. Nice and hearty, nice and thick. Comes out, look at that. It's lousy out there, it's pouring rain. Just imagine last couple of days, frigid weather. Look at that. We got Derek, Eric, and Alyssa here, so they're going to eat supper right now. Look at that. Now, how's that for the family table? Everybody come home, talk about their day, have this nice hearty beef stew, and look what we got. We're going to turn this cutting board over, and look, this nice bread. If you're fancy, you can make your own bread. I did go to the store and get the bread. But look, nice and crusty, soft in the middle, ready to butter up. My granddaughter, she would just put a ton of butter on it. But, ladies and gentlemen, here is the family table. Here is my beef stew. And this is what we got. And I hope you enjoy this episode and come watch our next episode, which I plan on doing a nice stuffed meatloaf. So again, thank you for joining me at my family table.